Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. Brought to you by CosmicNewsNetwork.com. Hey there, kids. It is I, Dirk Bradshaw, with the Cosmic News. Well, normally I don't give up my precious show to just anybody, but tonight we are very fortunate to have a correspondent who's not well known here on Earth, but I have to say, in the universe, there is no bigger name than Bob Cummings, and he is coming here to Earth to work, and he's got a few things to say about this WikiLeaks story, and he's just... If there's anybody who gets into a story, it's Bob, and we're very fortunate to have him tonight. So I'm going to let Bob Cummings do his editorial on WikiLeaks. Bob, take it away.
If the machine of government is of such a nature that it requires you to be the agent of injustice to another, then I say, break the law. Now, in regards to the breaking of the law, as I just mentioned in that quote by Henry David Thoreau, it would appear that sometimes, in order to do what is just, what is true, what is right, and what is proper, one must indeed break the law. After all, as said by Martin Luther King Jr., we should never forget that everything Adolf Hitler did in Germany was legal, and everything the Hungarian freedom fighters did in Hungary was illegal. So sometimes we simply have to break the law. We have to understand that sometimes laws are not made by just people. In fact, sometimes criminals obtain power within government, and then we find that the laws are made by criminals. And indeed, we are seeing just this to a great extent in a great many places throughout the world today. In fact, most of the laws that have been put in place anywhere in modern times simply have the effect of disempowering the people. I don't see any laws that have been put in place in the last 10 years that actually serve the people or empower the people or seem to be in the best interests of the people. Most of them are simply unjust pieces of legislation designed to further control the masses. And call me finicky, but I believe that if a law does not have its basis in justice, then it is no law and it is entitled to no obedience. I mean, let's get real, folks. The entire legal and justice system has been designed to supposedly benefit humanity. So why is it that what we are seeing from this system appears to be the polar opposite? Now, all this talk of law and whether it's the right thing to break the law or uphold the law, and in what circumstances should you do either, is, of course, leading around to the topic which seems to be the flavour of the month, and that is the WikiLeaks and Julian Assange affair. There's been a lot of talk on all fronts about what's going on here, whether the whole thing is a big CIA psyop, and people saying Assange is a disinformation person because he doesn't talk about Zionism and he condemns Iran, which are, of course, both interesting points. But ultimately, whether Assange is a plant, whether he's delivering information, or whether he's simply delivering the information that he's spoon-fed to deliver is all debatable points. But the thing to notice here, folks, is that whether you believe in Julian Assange, whether you believe he is a disinformation agent, whether you believe he is a hero, is of no real consequence. Because what is really on trial here, what the core issues are in this case, is freedom of speech and censorship. That's what's really on trial here. Whether people have the right to speak out. And people should absolutely have the right to speak out, because if the people don't speak out when they see an atrocity, then who keeps the governments in check? What prevents these governments from doing anything they want to do? We've had politicians like Sarah Palin, we've had all sorts of other people, journalists, people right across the board, people such as Bill O'Reilly, which of course isn't surprising, Rush Limbaugh, all sorts of people basically saying that Assange should be held up as a terrorist or tried for treason, or some people have even been calling for his assassination. And this is completely absurd, folks. These people are advocating freedom, while on the other hand calling for the death or prosecution of someone who exposed an atrocity, calling it a breach of national security. I've said to you many times before on other shows, what is national security? We've been taught to believe that national security is security of government. But don't forget, folks, that the government is a government supposedly elected of the people, by the people, and for the people. The government is not the nation. The government is simply the government, the duly appointed representatives of the people, by the people. What makes up the nation of your country is the people of your country. So the security of the nation really is the security of the people of your country. So how can the nation ever be secure if the people that are elected are freed of all scrutiny and accountability for their actions and are given free rein and unlimited funding to operate outside of the law?
It's Johnny B. Free from freeinla.com. Just reminding y'all, you moms, dads, grandmas, and grandpas, that it is time for the kids to get a 2-week break. And what are you going to do? Well, Christmas Day only lasts one day, and New Year's is only one day. What are you going to do the rest of the time? You're going to need to go to freeinla.com that has over 3,000 things for you to do this Christmas season. Ho, ho, ho. freeinla.com's asking you, what are you doing with the kids this Christmas break?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for the greatest show on Earth. That's right, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight it's all about extreme archaeology. Picture Indiana Jones times 10. Professors of science, archaeology, and anthropology from some of the nation's most prestigious colleges and universities voiced strong opinions about the validity of this special, which challenged the long-accepted beliefs about man's beginnings. Tonight, we present the evidence suggesting that man may have made the climb from Stone Age to civilization more than once. The present-day man is just the latest in the cycle, and that Darwin's theory of evolution may have some serious flaws. That's tonight on the Cosmic News.
J.D. Whitney was intrigued by an unexpected discovery made 300 feet under Table Mountain. While digging for gold, miners unearthed a variety of stone tools, such as mortar and pestles and ladles. Incredibly, the rock strata the tools were reportedly found in was dated as early as 55 million years old. Whitney made a thorough report in these finds and came to an unsettling conclusion. Man could be millions of years older than the current evolutionary model suggests. This bizarre evidence seems to have been well documented, yet the general public and many within the scientific community are unaware of these controversial finds. The question is, why haven't we heard of these discoveries before?
Oh, I think we're talking about a massive cover-up. As I said, over the past 150 years, these archaeologists and anthropologists have covered up as much evidence as they've dug up, literally.
Basically what you find is something we call a knowledge filter. This is a fundamental feature of science. It's also a fundamental feature of human nature. People tend to filter out things that don't fit, that don't make sense in terms of their paradigm or their way of thinking. So in science you find that evidence that doesn't fit the accepted paradigm tends to be eliminated. It's not taught, it's not discussed, and people who are educated in scientific teachings generally don't even learn about it.
Conventional theory states that modern man originated in southern Africa around 100,000 years ago. From there, he migrated north into Europe and southern Asia, continued through Asia, and crossed the Bering Strait into the New World around 30,000 years ago. He then came down through North America and finally arrived in South America around 15,000 years ago. Yet numerous artifacts have been found across North and South America that are so old they threaten to completely overturn this theory. According to geologist Virginia Steen McIntyre, she was silenced at the height of her career because of her determination to report the facts. In the summer of 1966, a collection of stone tools, including this leaf-shaped spear point, was uncovered at Huayatlaco, Mexico. To find out exactly how old the spear points were, a team of experts from the United States Geological Survey was called in to date them.
When we first began to work on the Huayatlaco site, we thought we had an old site. This was back in '66, and we thought it was perhaps 20,000 years old, and at that time that was considered a very old age for the site. We did what they call radiometric dates, which gives an actual date range. And we used two different methods to do that. One was using uranium atoms, another one was using little zircon crystals. When we finally got the dates and all the different methods we used to date it, it came out to be 250,000 years old. To tell you the truth, I would have been happy with a 20,000-year-old date. It would have made my career. It was very old for the time, but it wasn't so old that it was that controversial. People can take 20,000-year steps. They can't take steps that are over 200,000 years at one time. And I was rather naive. I thought, okay, we've got something big here, but I'm just going to stick with the date. We've got the information, we got the facts, let's get the facts out and go on from there. And I didn't realize it was going to ruin my whole career.
According to Dr. McIntyre, because she stuck to the facts, all of her professional opportunities were closed off. She's not worked in her chosen field since. The site was closed and permission for further investigation was denied forever.
It's not necessarily a deliberate conspiracy in the sense of some people getting together in a smoke-filled room and saying, we're going to deceive people. It's something that happens automatically within the scientific community. So when a given piece of evidence disagrees with the predominant theory, then automatically people won't talk about it, they won't report it, and that means that science fails to progress in the way that one would hope.
Tonight's Cosmic News is powered by thegeniusclubonline.com. Why be ordinary when you can be a genius? That's thegeniusclubonline.com. Check them out.
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.